What's up, guys? I thought that this would be a kind of a neat way for me to help out somebody that's thinking about getting into HVAC or any kind of a skilled trade. Um, Explaining like step by step how to get into it and then how it worked out for me, I think might be helpful to some people. So I'm 26 years old. I did a 5-year union apprenticeship here in Central California, and I just finished that in December, and then now I have my own company. I have my contractor's license and all the insurance and all the good stuff, and I'm just getting started myself. But I do think it's a great like career choice or skill to learn. I think that I don't even think it's so much anymore that like people don't think skilled trades are good, because I think for the most part people understand like skilled trades is something that's worth learning, or something that you can become like a resource. Basically what I think is the most helpful is teaching people how to become a resource, like having a skill to be able to help I don't know, the community. And a big part of what I am trying to figure out how to do is get other people like me, which I consider myself like a young ambitious man, how to get other people, but not only just young ambitious men, but everyone, like to be more, try to figure out some way that I can help, long story short. But what I wanted to do is make videos for people like myself 6 years ago, whatever, even before that, what would have been helpful to me at that time, and then hopefully I could help somebody out to where it's I can lay the path out for them so that they know what to do, and then they can create a good life where they can provide for others and for their families and stuff like that. I think HVAC is a good way to do that. So I started when I was 19. I didn't start with a job, but I started going to school. So for the most part, at least in HVAC, I would say that they care about getting schooling or getting training and stuff. It's kind of hit or miss. Some companies like that, or they require that. I think for the most part, it's just for you to show that you can commit and stay, committed to something to the point where you finish out your years long schooling. Basically, just showing that you can get the job done. You can take directions and execute whatever task you gotta figure out or whatever. That's kind of what I view college as too. Like, it's a prolonged schooling. It's like, okay, if you can complete this, then you probably can complete whatever I'm going to ask you as an employer. So I think that's kind of like the main purpose of it. But anyway, you don't necessarily have to go to school, and I hate the excuse of, oh well, you got to know somebody or something like that. Like, it's not like that. I mean, it wasn't like that for me. I don't know anybody. The only person that I know I met when I was younger in high school that had his own HVAC company, and he told me about joining the union. So he took me for a ride along one day, and we went and we did like 3 service calls. At this point I was like 18, 19. He took me on a ride along and we did like 3 service calls, residential service calls, and then I kind of got to see how the work was. I thought it was awesome how you don't have to clock in. I thought it was awesome how you don't have to clock in or be somewhere where you are there all the time, you're there all day. I just thought it was the coolest thing, because I was working at Papa Murphy's before and making pizza. So not to say that making pizza is a bad thing, but I was working at a place. I worked there for 4 years. I started when I was 16, and then I worked there till I was 20. I finished my HVAC schooling while working at Papa Murphy's. But anyway, he took me on that ride along, and then I kind of got to see, like, a whole different look at what I considered a job to be. And like, we're running around in the car, driving around, fixing stuff, going to the store, buying stuff, going back and fixing stuff. I thought it was the coolest thing. Like, I think it's super cool to fix things for people, and I really enjoyed that. Anyway, he told me, so we only did it one time, and it was my good friend's girlfriend's dad, and he was the one. I think, I don't know how it worked out, but I asked him, you know, I think I even asked him if he was hiring or something like that, but he's like, no. It worked out some way where he took me and showed me for one day. I think that was like the coolest thing. I need to freaking reach out to him and thank him, because now being, you know, kind of in the position that he was, it's really cool that he did that for me. I appreciate that. He showed me, you know, how it can be, and then I really liked it. I think that'd be cool to do for somebody else. Anyway, but yeah, he told me about joining the union, so I was like, oh, okay. If that's the thing that you recommend, I'll do that. You know, I think this is cool. I'm gonna try to join the union. So I went to join the union, and they do like a testing. I think they do it every 3 months or something like that. But you go to their union hall and you do a test, and then if you do well on the test and you get a passing score, it's like if you get like a, I don't know, 75% in the English, math, and mechanical ability test, you pass. And this is what's considered the apprenticeship test. So if you pass the test, then you get put on a list, and when you get put on the list, you get scheduled for an interview with the union. So then I went to my interview with the union, and I was like, I don't know, 19? Yeah, I had to have been 19. And man, the fucking road's bumping me around. I had the interview, and they were like, you know, the old, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And I was like, I don't fucking know. Like, I told them, I said, with a house and a truck. I mean, at that point, I'm living with my mom. I'm driving my, thankfully I had my Honda Accord, but still, like, what does a 19-year-old want? To be, like, independent? Like, I hate that question. What do you see yourself in 5 years? Like, what do you want to hear? I don't really get that. But anyway, they asked me, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And I was like, with the house. And they're like, okay, well, do you have any experience? I said, no, I don't have any experience. That's what I'm here for. It's an apprenticeship. I didn't say it like that. It's kind of jackass, but I was just like, no, I don't. They're like, well, we don't really hire people that don't have experience. So we recommend that you try to get some experience first. And then in my head, I'm just like, what are you talking about? Like, that's what the point of this is. Like, you think of an apprenticeship, you think of you training me how to do this. But anyway, they were like, yeah, we want someone with experience. So either go to trade school or get a job first. And I'm like, what the fuck? That makes no sense. But come to find out, it makes perfect sense. But anyway, I went to a community college, COS in Tulare. Went to community college there, and for anybody that's interested, and if you think you're going to need to go to school to get the extra edge, I would absolutely recommend community college, not the private like SJVC or IoT or whatever other private college that charges you $30,000. Definitely wouldn't recommend going with those, only because at the end of the day, you're not going to learn the trade by going to school. Just like you don't learn how to drive by reading a book about or going to driving school. Like, you got to just do the job to learn the job. It's like anything else. So I personally don't see the point in spending money for that portion of the learning process. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But regardless, I went to community college, and it was a 1-year program, and I went for the full year. And then right after finishing that, I think it was the going into the summer of 2020. COVID was full effect, and I was like, damn, I haven't got my schooling, the hands-on portion of the schooling, which is the second semester, being the spring semester, because it starts in the fall. The spring semester, going into 2020, they cut the freaking hands-on thing off because of social distancing. So all I did was the book work in the fall semester, and then in the spring semester, they cut us off, and we didn't even get to touch hardly anything. And then they actually cut the school year off like 2 months earlier, something like that. And then they still gave us full credit, which that's kind of wild. But anyway, they did that. And then going into the summertime, I had been sending out job applications, or I think I was on ZipRecruiter, and I made my profile, and then I think I was sending job applications. But personally, I believe those methods can be resourceful, but nothing is gonna like be an impression to somebody more than if you go and try to meet them. So looking back, or looking to anybody else, I'd recommend try to like go to the company and get in touch with who you have to get in touch with. It just shows that you're just not disciplined, but determined enough, and like have you got your wits about you to like go seek out what it is you're trying to do. So as opposed to just sitting down and sending your application that's already pre-made, just sending it. Like people that have those apps that are looking for employees get a ton of those, and yeah, they might take you up on your offer if you look good on paper. But I think what would be the biggest what would make the biggest impression is if you went to the people, introduce yourself, they see you, like, okay, yeah, this guy is like, he's standing up straight, he's breathing, he's got some, he figured out how to get here, he drove a car, that's good. Like, there's a lot of assumptions that can be made about you if you show up, and it's all positive. So I would always recommend to go look for work instead of, be at home looking for work. That's at least my 2 cents on it. Maybe my experience is wrong. At any rate, I got a call from a local non-union shop in Fresno, at Valley Air, and they wanted a parts runner. And I remember me and my teacher from the school had a pretty good relationship, and I called them and I was like, hey, this company wants to hire me as a parts runner, should I take the job? Obviously I didn't understand. I thought like, oh, I went to school, like I should be a tech right away. And I asked him, I was like, should I take it? Like, is it wrong for me to take this job delivering parts? And he's like, absolutely take that job, because you're going to get your foot in the door. And he was absolutely right, because you can't, only now do I know that you can't start out walking, you got to start out crawling. So I'm glad I got at least that bit of experience, because prior I had no background in blue collar. I come from a white collar family. Like nothing about me has ever been blue collar, except for I like to mess with like tools and stuff. But I've never been like that person. So I really needed all the help that I could get, or all the training and knowledge and learning that I could take in. So I got the job as a parts runner, and I did that for I think 5 or 6 months. So I was working as a parts runner, and that was actually my most stressful job ever. Because you're freaking driving around all day, you got freaking 20 people calling you, telling you what they need is the most important thing, and you don't know who to listen to, and that was the most stressful job ever. But I did that. I would run parts, help out if I need to. I helped out on like 5 residential installs, like the ductwork. That was cool. I got to see how that goes, and then, but primarily I just did like shop maintenance and parts running, and then so I worked there for I think 5 or 6 months. It was November when I got a call from New England in Fresno. It's a union shop, and so I was at work at Valier, got a call. They're like, "Hey, we're looking to hire you. Are you interested?" And I was like, "Hell yeah, I'm interested." And they're like, "Your starting pay is going to be $19." I'm like, "Fuck yeah, $19! I'm making $14. Like, this is awesome." And then I remember I was at work when they called, and then I was like, "Yeah, I'll do it." And he's like, "Well, can you start tomorrow?" I'm like, "Oh shit, tomorrow? That's like, you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to put in 2 weeks, aren't you?" But anyway, I was like, "Well, let me call you back, or let me let you know." But yeah, absolutely, I want the job. So you got to remember, I had taken the test at least a year prior to getting the phone call that they wanted to hire me. So I waited for a while. Now, had I proven that I knew more or was more valuable at that point, maybe I would have got hired sooner. But someone with no experience and no background and no knowledge of the trade, trying to get hired as an apprentice for a union shop is kind of like, that's a lot to ask. And I'm really blessed and grateful that they even took the chance to give me that opportunity, because now I know this shit's tough. Well, working in the union as an apprentice AC service tech specifically is tough, because you're doing fucking heavy equipment from day one, and it's sink or swim type of stuff. So now I get it. You know, before I was like, well, this is the point of the apprenticeship, is to teach me all this stuff. But now I get it, and I learned real quick why. For the first 2 years, I wanted to quit every single day, because I would do some type of big mistake or cost my company money, and it was just constant everyday stress and pain from fucking stuff up and learning the hard way. It's the best way to learn, but it really sucked to go through it. And I wanted to quit so much, but I didn't quit, and I stuck with it. And what was I talking about before this? Oh, so they called me and they wanted to hire me, and I hit up my boss at the place I was working at running parts, and he's like, "Dude, take that job. If you don't take that job, you're dumb." And I was like, "Okay, cool." Like, that was easy. That was my first quitting experience. And then he's like, "How long are you gonna stay?" I told him, "Well, they want me to start tomorrow." He's like, "Oh fuck. Well, all right." So that's cool that he was like that, because I left him hanging. Freaking, I guess we were going to slow season, but still, like, I just up and left. And I left, started at this shop, and then I've been there since November of 2020 till June of 2026. And I did my whole union apprenticeship. It's a really cool system. I think it's like the best career path for somebody that wants to learn something that's like really valuable and wants to secure their future for themselves and their family. I think it's one of the best things that you can do. And as far as the skilled trades go, I still believe it's one of the best, if not the best, specifically HVAC, because I was telling my family yesterday, like, it's the one thing that you have to know: plumbing, you have to know obviously HVAC, and you have to know electrical too. And it's like, it makes you think about things, the workings of a lot of different topics. Like, it makes you well-rounded, I should say. So I absolutely recommend it. And the program that they offer, it's a 5-year program. It's a 5-year program that the union offers, where you're an apprentice and you work like normal, like everybody else. You're 7 to 3:30 or whatever. It's service, so you can work earlier and later. It could be anything, but you work your hours, and then 2 nights a week you go to school at the union hall, the same place where you took the test. You go to school there, and it's 2 nights a week for 3.5 hours each night, which sucks. It's fucking terrible. I know people have been through harder stuff. It doesn't sound that bad, but it's fucking annoying. Like, but I think that's the point. I think that's the point of it, is that it is annoying. And in my particular situation, I hardly learned anything from the school itself. What I learned and the most that I got out of that whole experience was from the conversations I had with the people around me, because we're all in there learning together, and then the conversations with the instructors about them sharing their experiences. The content of the school, like the bookwork and the tests and stuff, usually just facilitated the conversation between the rest of us so that I could actually learn. And I think a lot of people are the same way. But either way, that's what it is. So you go to school for 5 years at night. It's like a regular school schedule. You know, you're off in the summers and winter break, and you got to go 2 nights a week. And if you miss three times in a semester, they drop you from the program. So like, it's kind of strict, kind of not. They're not asking, you know, too much of you, but they definitely want commitment. And then once you've completed 5 years of this schooling and working, then you become a journeyman, and you no longer have to attend school, and you get a pay raise. Currently, right now, the journeyman pay rate is $54.50. Well, what you actually get on the check is $53.50 an hour. If you don't take any deductions for healthcare and 401 and stuff like that, that's your take-home dollar amount. And then they also give you benefits for your family, as long as, you know, you're married and you have children. They give you full medical, vision, dental, all that stuff. So like, benefits wise, top notch. And then for your retirement, I think they match up to $4 an hour for your 401. And then like your benefits card, your HSA, your pre-tax like bank account for medical reasons, I think they do something like that too. Like you could put a lot of money away, and the pension's great. Like, I honestly, freaking, to anybody, unless you wanted to run your own business, you absolutely should join the union if you're serious about this. But it is serious. Like, it's, if you want to be a part of like I don't want to sound like a jackass, but you want to be a part of the like elite group of people. And I know there's non-union shops that are probably much better, but as a whole, like, generally speaking, the union shops are going to have the best skilled labor. I know there's also people that are lazy as shit. They give it a bad name, but it's not always like that. Just like anything else, you can make generalizations about anything, but at its core, I think it is a good thing overall. I think it's a really good thing. So that's the route that I went. I went to trade school. I worked non-union while I was waiting to get a call back from the apprenticeship or the union hall, and then I did my union apprenticeship, my full 5 years with one company, and became a journeyman. And then once I became a journeyman, I had fulfilled my my commitment I had made to myself to finish it out, and also I fulfilled a commitment to learn a skilled trade, which qualified me to get a contractor's license. And about 3 years ago, I had decided that this is the way that I wanted to go, only because I think I can. I mean, the laundry list. There's a laundry list of reasons why you would want to work for yourself. You know, we can talk about that another day. But I've been wanting to work on my own and become an independent contractor. And I think that's the path that's for me. So once I became a journeyman in December, I immediately applied to get my contractor's license, and that was a bit of a, that was drawn out. it took me longer than I expected it to. I was hoping to be operational with my own company sooner than, middle of the summer. My first day was, I think, June 25th. So a little late. I was trying to get it, closer to March, April, May, but it doesn't happen that fast. Either way, that's how it went for me. So I got my journeyman, and then immediately started working on getting my contractor's license, and then got my contractor's license on like June 24th. And then I called my company, the one that I've worked at for like since November of 2020, and I called them and I was like, hey, I got my contractor's license. And they're like, oh, really? Why? And I'm like, because I want to do this on my own. And they're like, what the fuck? And they ended up firing me that same day, which is pretty shady, but that's neither here nor there. And it was like my little kick in the ass to get going, right? And then so since June 25th or 4th or whatever, I have been self-employed, and it's pretty damn cool. I'm loving it so far. I mean, it's only been a month and a half. I've made some good money. I haven't profited any money really, because I've just been spending all the money that I had saved to do this. So soon it'll turn profitable, and I think it will. I mean, I was thinking last night, and the reason why I was doing this video to begin with is because I was thinking about, what's actually important. And I don't really think that making the most money, or having the most stuff and the most money is what is gonna, like, I don't think that's what it's about. I actually think like it's about helping the most people. So, and it's pretty cool. I watched this dude named Andy Frisella. He's helped me fucking so much, like, throughout my adult life, with like changing my perspective on a lot of things. But he says, like, if you focus on helping people, the money's gonna come either way. So, like, don't worry about the money, because the money's gonna come. And obviously now, like, I got bills. I don't have much money in the bank, but from the work that I've been doing and the problems that I've been solving for people, it seems like the money's gonna be there. Like, I don't have to worry about if I can afford my house. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be able to pay for that and still do whatever I want to do. So I think that's cool. Like, that's all I kind of really want, is I want to be able to do good for people. I want to be my own boss, and I don't want to have to worry about money. Now, I don't think I really want to have freaking Lamborghinis and shit. It's cool, but deep down, genuinely, I don't think that's like what it's about. And even like the dude Andy Frisella I'm talking about, like, he says, like, he had all the money, had the cars and the fancy shit, the expensive stuff, and then when it came down to it, he realized that that's not even what it's about. Not to say that stuff's not cool, because that's cool stuff, and I want it. I do want to get that stuff, but it's not like what our purpose is here. It's like a byproduct in a way. So I think that's exciting. I think I'm going to focus on trying to be like a resource for people, trying to help, show people how to do it. As of now, the only way that I thought of that I can help is I'm going to try to, like, educate people, or try to, like, tell people how it went for me, and hopefully that helps in some way. And as I'm going along, I'll figure out other ways that I could be some type of resource. But yeah, so I really just wanted to make a video explaining how it went for me, and kind of lay it out to show people what to expect, for wanting to get involved in the trade. So, like, obviously, if like, quick summary recap, quick, like, refresher recap, if you want to get into the trade, you need to get your driver's license. Okay, you need to keep a clean driving record. That's pretty dang important. It's kind of hard to get a job without one, unless you're doing work like project work, where you drive your own vehicle to the job site, which that opportunity is absolutely there. But if you want to be like a company vehicle, drive around town technician, pretty much every company is going to want you to have a clean driving record. So you need those two things off the bat. Then, if you have those two things, think about getting your EPA 608 certification. That's kind of like the end goal of the community college. So if you could do that on your own, I mean, that's saves you time and money, you know, with having to go to school and stuff like that. So get your driver's license, keep your record clean, get your EPA 608. That's pretty much bare bones what you need. Oh, and the biggest one, have a good work ethic. That's like all, now as a business owner, even before as an employee, like that's all anyone cares about, you know, is like, are you going to do a good job and are you going to work hard? That's all we could ever ask for. You can teach anybody anything, but if they lack the work ethic, it's not going to work. Like, they're not going to be valuable. They can know everything in the fucking world, but if they're not going to work hard or share the knowledge, or, you know, be an asset, it's useless. There's no point in having someone. We don't got to go down that path. But what I'm trying to make the point of is that being like a hard worker, doing what's necessary and not complaining, like just getting the job done, you know, working hard. It's pretty simple. That's like number one. So as long as you have the 3 basic requirements and you work hard, you should be able to start. Okay, so once you have those, try to go get a job. This is my recommendation now. Try to go get a job for any air conditioning company or any skilled trade for that matter. Try to go get the job. Doesn't matter what it is. And then you can work and show, you know, what you're doing, if you freaking sweep the floor the best, like, people notice that shit. Like, obviously my path was a little different. I didn't work from the floor sweeper all the way to whatever, the top or whatever, at the same company. But that stuff does matter. Like, I did used to do my absolute go above and beyond at like the cleaning and shit. And I remember my manager told me, worst advice I've ever gotten, by the way. He's like, I see you're going above and beyond on that. Don't do that because nobody's ever going to notice. But at the time I was upset, but if you really think about it, he noticed. You know, he noticed, because if he didn't notice, he wouldn't have said that. But he did notice, and I think, looking back, I think he was kind of like making himself feel better for cutting corners and being lazy by seeing somebody that's going above and beyond and trying to get them to stop. And that's kind of a shitty thing to tell somebody. But anyway, my personal belief is go above and beyond, and people notice that shit, and then it shows them that you have that 4th quality that I told you about, which is the most important one, and it's that you're a fucking hustler. So yeah, do the extra work, and I could bet money that you're going to get to where you're trying to get to. You know, I started as, like I said, the shop maintenance, sweeping, you know, freaking recycling metal, you know, like the easy shit, or like the simple shit. You don't got to be a rocket scientist to do this stuff, but I did it well, and I did it well enough to where people would notice. So I believe that's the way you should do it. I don't know if this was helpful to anybody, but and that quick recap didn't really turn into a quick recap. But I guess if you have any questions, or I don't know if I'm qualified to give advice to people, but if you wanted to know my opinion on something, feel free to reach out.